You and Leon got into a tussle and you lost.
He would have lost.
He would have lost. Who's this?
Kyle.
Called Kyle. Dave Higginson, how you doing?
Good.
So,
Yeah, I don't
where should
know.
we sit?
That's a question you have to do with Alex.
Hi. How are you two? How are you? Shoulder for the second time. This one's been revised. Thanks, I'm so short, everything I do is up here. I told that to
Delightful.
Travis Tornberg. And he goes, no.
Some of it, the older I get, the more I realize this is part of it.
This is genetics.
Hi. So you've been abusing your wife?
We usually.
Actually.
I don't know, wherever.
Really? Okay.
These guys. Good deal. Hi.
Rotator cuff, is that?
How are you doing? Jerry.
Mine. Yeah, well, I've got trigger fingers.
What is that, Al? That one he's showing?
Wow. Did they do it here?
Well, Matt hasn't been updated.
Dr. Larson's retired, so he didn't do it.
Got worried there when he showed me his plan, right? You're like, wait a
This is
second.
the official one by the, what was approved.
Yeah, Dr. Larson, he was our best friend. He did my back years
All I know
ago.
is this is the approved.
Then when Miriam got plucked off a shelf,
We had it going all the way up to Whittiston, and they pulled it back to the,
I may just email you.
so that map is.
Miriam got plucked off a shovel and she was
So she's
doing,
working in the garden?
yeah, she was working in the garden, she hit a rock or something, and she lost her balance. Yes, that was last
We
year.
had that, and they pulled it back
So
going.
I was
We
disappointed to
just don't
see
want it to
Dr.
go that
Larson
far out,
retire,
we want
but
it to come back.
it happens.
Might have to go look at it.
First shoulder.
This is your third time.
Why?
You said something about Utah law versus.
This is the actual.
But I'll
map.
look at it, 'cause I just got back out of town. I just looked at it.
Well, first time I had my back surgery, I was about 30, it was when I lived here the first time. You know, I don't know, around 30.
Yeah, you can.
I herniated a disc and so I did that and
If you
then
go to
I,
To the parcel view or on the website.
then I
that's what this is.
re-injured it when we moved back.
Open up the comprehensive.
That was about 5 or 6 years later. And then my back's been okay since
The
then.
same
So I
one.
was probably
It's
about
the only
40
one.
when I had it done last time. Yeah, so I like that. Where do you want to sit?
I don't know, you go, let's go.
You guys want to sit here on the outside? Where's the best place for Leon? Where's the best
We
place
have
for
to-
you to sit?
We have to leave.
It's hard to tell from this without seeing the.
Be done way before 7:30. Where is the best place for you to sit? Okay. Hi.
I don't know where you got that. What's the circle there?
Becca Tiffin, nice to meet you.
So
You looked up the comprehensive plan. I'm telling you, this is what's up.
kids,
Yeah, so I was like,
that was very qualified.
I believe this, but I'm telling you, this is the.
How you doing, boss? They'll treat you well?
Nice to meet you. Let me give you, although I'm not gonna vote on this, but I wanted to let you know what we're trying to.
For you.
We also did that with the.
Because I double checked.
Steiner property.
Well, I can dig into it.
I promise.
We've
Yep.
made changes.
Whether they agree or not, at least I'm trying to fulfill my commitment to
It
them.
changed after. We made
Anyway,
changes since that.
you're looking good.
That's okay.
Stop changing so much.
I can look it up.
I hate it.
Find out for sure.
And I told her,
How you
I
doing?
said,
Good.
good, did you feel like
Good.
you needed to do? She said, no, it's road. So. Okay, okay, great.
But we. I'm happy with the school being there because.
So where does Becca live that she, would be
Yeah.
interested in sharing?
So we live over by Rexburg, so not very
I'm the
close.
only one on
Well,
there. Is this
we
on
had one
another-
other item.
another thing?
No,
They're
but
gonna
just
approve
kidding.
a
I'm
new
gonna try and start
commissioner.
going to more.
I mean, his
Uh,
role
So,
too.
He is
so be
not
more
in
civic
town,
tonight.
so we can't.
Solid.
So hopefully, knock on wood.
Until you
You
get.
missed, that's linoleum, not wood.
General.
Cause Chinese.
Ah,
Still only 2
so
And I
part
thought,
of this.
This is called Willowbrook.
That's right next to the hospital.
So Willowbrook, if you go out to 12th West,
Okay.
turn south on
Where you
12th
gonna
West.
say that?
And yeah, you go past the first of the church.
And then I said,
We have a discussion.
Here's 12th West.
you know, if
The
you
first LDS church you go right there.
like it, there should, yes.
Just keep going down 12th West.
No,
It
but
didn't,
there
it
is-
didn't say that, it used to have to sign up to talk.
It has a bunch of condos, these are all condos.
You can't lie.
And then these are all on.
Like, I like the lobby, I'm like, I'll call them up, say,
I
hey.
think the book is split back into the same word again.
Basically, it's part of
I hope they show up.
When they finish that chapel
If you don't know the
in
book
Summerfield.
the vote, then you're not doing your job right.
It's right here. And it's gonna go down to about here and they're gonna.
I've heard that
Have you
they're
been
real
there?
estate too, so they can have 8 to 10 to whatever.
I didn't know we were getting a church.
Yes, it's already approved,
Unsigned.
7. So we can probably see if it's- Yeah, if you have kids that are interested in that. you can get them in line with the church. If they're not already built.
Oh, I remember I told you
Bernie's
last time.
goes to,
I actually
a
asked
charter school that, yeah, I have, that's just one crap.
So,
I,
into this for,
That's my neighbor, I don't know, just reach out, say, hey, just wanna let you know what we're trying to do here.
You know, me.
You go until you're dead end.
So I'm gonna come back.
Well, makes sense.
And you guys, most of
Leon, Leon's
especially with
hired
the
at BYU.
elected
BYU.
officials.
He is a,
I don't know
Have that
where.
conversation. Now, the other, but the rule is, you right,
I refer to him
So it's
He's,
yeah, former president, so I'm like, okay, so if you're gonna call these, just call them individual.
as well as the president. He does one or more pictures.
City council 5, 7.
Every
Too many.
He's
Provide notice because the public may.
Yeah, no, I know.
amazing.
No, gas prices are up.
I've known Leon for what, 40 years? 30 years. Oh, you, I've known you for 30 years.
This one.
Anyway, 30 or 40 years.
And then we're just so sick.
I came here in 2007.
That's a good question. I wasn't thinking of that.
Yeah, I just.
We moved here in about late 80s, late 80s is when we moved here. That's when I first met.
I just wanted to show you, and the first meeting I had.
89 or 87, something like that. 40 years.
And the south part of this is the Steiner property.
Anyway.
How does
And
this
so I just want,
Oh,
we've been trapped on this or what not. So I just want.
Trying to figure out what works. We knew, we always knew.
I owe you an apology.
Especially how much.
I don't know.
Oh, you can take it. When you came to the house and said, you gotta
We
go
just want to
church,
make sure.
I should have said,
Half
I think
acre
you're
lots.
It's because of you.
Half acre lots.
Just like we have on this side.
Those are big, those are big.
Like,
But people want affordable housing, and it's hard to mix those.
well, we don't care about
It's always about, I always say, no, it's not my problem, it's always the younger generation. Like, the older generation says, we like it, and so we're gonna throw the ladder off so no one else can get it.
Well, it's good to talk to you.
Right, on this side. because that's already IR. That's already, I'm not changing anything, that's already there. So I'm just conforming with
So what are you changing this from what stuff?
to LDR two.
Come through the front doors.
They have them over.
They're all bird.
It's right behind.
That's a fantastic.
A little close for comfort.
Maybe it will, maybe it will keep the mice from,
They eat the banana.
So I guess
now.
a little, you know, somewhere that, I believe that every area should have a little bit of green area, so I would think like a city park, a little tot lot, any kind of fruit or vegetables. I was trying to keep, like a walking area, just somewhere that I didn't even live in.
But you know when you
So
see
anyway.
projects and stuff going on, is there a way?
Sorry, what? That's why.
I don't
And
think
Dan and
they're
Eric.
actually.
I went to Skylar. I'm actually from my but
They have to push me, I talked to Alan many times. I'm gonna ask Alan about that.
Sometimes they'll have,
They only have one
spots
exit.
that
How do they get a person to use it with someone else?
they came out from class and they're
No, as long as they have two exits.
under it.
Do they have
Like-
two exits? Yeah, but they both have 7, but they have 2 exits because normally you can't do more than 30 units if you don't have 2 exits by fire code. If they only had 1 exit, that would be a surprise to me. But you're saying they have 2 exits, but both of them exit to 7. Yeah, and that it's just like if you have 2 exits going to 12, like a lot of property have 2 exits to 12. Yeah, as long as they have 2 exits, they don't require 3 exits. So I've talked to the city many times, they've never mentioned it. If they would have only had 1 exit, I probably would have said, you gotta figure out a way to give them an exit. Find another one. You gotta ask Alan about that. I've met with Alan like so many times, and with Keith, the city engineer, the city public works guy.
Anyway, so.
He would have fire probably would have brought that up, but I'm gonna ask him because we could facilitate another exit if that's what they need. Oh, you don't want it? I don't think so, but let me ask.
Oh, there's already.
These 3 have.
All those.
Meadows was gonna have, another exit to the north. So how do we?
Well, I was in the.
Lazy right up. Lazy while it's still hot.
So I'm gonna email
We have to build it to.
Dan today,
He,
and then
Well, it's got size.
You're south.
Hold on.
None of those better. I'm sure that she lays it up. Well, okay, yeah. I have 2 ground. I have a feeling it's the dark. Big red.
You text Vern?
And you know this is supposed to act like 3
Big red's
times.
on.
So,
only 3?
no, twice, this will be number 3.
No.
Where is it?
Every now and again, she's come over.
These guys
So, right here,
And she's
so I've
laying
proposed
it.
to Keith several times, and Keith hasn't mentioned anything. Obviously, this is here, so where's their road? Where's their road? So this is a road, this is a tiny road.
It's a little road, it's private.
So, we can connect that, that's not a problem.
Just see the pavement ends right
Yeah,
there.
that's a, how wide is that road?
24 feet. That's all
Well,
it's got.
that's not, but we just have to find a way, they need to connect.
She and
Or do I?
They've gotta go to their property.
And I go to
You
mine.
go to your property.
Right, but wouldn't there be a bridge?
There's no bridge.
Do we have to do the canal?
There's no canal there.
There's a canal.
Canal's over here.
Oh, that's right, the canal's on that side.
Yeah, so there's nothing
I
on that
thought, I
side.
thought a canal, I'm like, dang, that's expensive sometimes across the canal. Oh, yeah, that's not a problem. I mean, I'll just tell my engineer. I mean, I don't think that's a big deal at all. I just, maybe I'm maybe I'm biased, but I never heard that. Cause don't they have, so I don't understand, don't they have two exits?
No, they only have one.
So we'll just-
They were in the county.
You guys always like, it's the county.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
big
what's
in
the
county
county?
too.
So don't tell her.
I sent her.
You sign up.
And you know.
That's an easy change.
That is.
It's gonna be the same size. They're probably, no, we're probably
Straight out this room.
I want to read all this. Probably. I guess they only.
So we, you need to.
I sent a text to them. Okay, just.
No, cause that's weird.
Or two, yeah. The thing is,
Burn and then.
How you doing? Real quick, well.
I loved your. Get my brain, your visuals. I loved you. They don't have it wrong.
That's what it always was.
So that's what fishing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. These 2 days first. Oh, yeah.
no bigger.
Okay, so here's what it is. 8 days.
Hey Vern, how are you doing? Good, are you about here?
We had, I think we had, yeah.
Okay, thank you. No, you're fine. We just wanted to, as long as you make it, we're happy.
You want one of these?
Thank you, Vern. Okay, bye.
Nice to meet you.
I do. Repair.
Got a chair for you here, Brent.
But,
Is your wife here?
No, I'm representing her.
You're representing her?
Yeah. She gave me.
Come here and sit with us.
So, wait a minute. We're just more interested.
They're just,
Come
they're
in and
listening.
How come you never said what we're doing?
Is it current?
You guys have been to 4 years. We did
one
it.
time at
So,
your house,
we wanna try and
with
get
your
more involved in
son.
Hold on.
It's a great place.
Oh, I never.
You never came, you was doing.
So, not super far. He's from Florida.
Maybe.
Are you, were you able to get on?
Are you like work, school, all this?
We desperately need you if you could.
Me?
Now, my mother is extraordinary.
5 more semesters. If you would, that'd help. I think Katie Jo sent you a link by email. She sent you one by email, so you can just use that to link in.
I always
Make you a panelist so you can participate. Thanks, Dan. Yeah.
I have one. We'll keep that in mind. All right.
I was,
Oh, yeah, in the original document,
It has that.
This fishing hat.
Just like.
in the actual plan use map.
It looks good, that dark out there looks good.
I know we approved it. Anyway, okay.
I just searched for. This is plan, this is final.
We need to change because we have some of those in there that have been updated. Thanks for pointing it out, though.
Not as artistic as right.
prolific painter.
You do art.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Been there 43 years.
How much?
It's time.
Yeah.
That is where we
Right.
Yeah, they just clear them out.
But if you have four of those,
Hey, Alan. Six for 4.
there you go. Last minute. There you go.
I mean, it's 4.
They said that you're online.
In a twisted way.
Okay, looks like we have a quorum. We've been waiting. We apologize. Okay, we'd like to welcome you to our planning and zoning meeting this evening.
When I was doing DoorDash.
Doesn't mean it.
It was when I was doing
Thank you. We're happy to see you all here, and sorry we didn't get started on time, but we are ready to go now. So we'd like to welcome you to our planning and zoning meeting, April 16th, 2020.
Hey, folks, we're gonna get going here.
We can cut a hole in there.
Okay, we will begin with a pledge of allegiance, and Tammy will lead us in that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. It doesn't look like the mayor's here, so we'll go ahead. Katie, with the commissioner roll call, please.
Randall Kempton, Sally Smith,
Here.
Aaron Richards, Jim Lawrence, Bruce Casper, McKay Francis,
Here.
Ryan Thackeray,
Here.
Vern Muir,
Here.
Dan Hanna, Tammy Geddes.
Here.
And Dan is supposed to be on Zoom.
Okay.
Did he raise his hand or anything? We need to check.
We need confirmation before we go.
Yeah.
Dan, are you there?
I wonder if he's muted.
He's online, so I know he's there, but. Just ignore he's there. Okay. Ask him to.
Now, can you hear me?
Thank you,
Thank
Dan.
Thank you.
You got a job, best boyfriend is coming out. Got a different one?
Yes, like a normal. Normal one. Chase actually.
You ever met the, she's looking at?
Rexburg, different sound. Find the rep with you.
Mute him for a second.
How much you get up there?
Have Justin mute it.
And then Alan, will you go and why don't you get him on the phone and see if he's in a position in which he can participate?
He said he was.
Well, let's double.
He is very crazy.
Yeah, Alan, come over here. Let's make
Hey,
sure.
we're getting cross or whatever. We can hear your full conversation. Okay, try muting it, but you need to respond when she asks if you're there so we can get you on the roll call.
Ask him if he's in a
Okay.
position to participate.
Okay, okay, do that and then put it on mute and then we'll go from there. Thanks. He responded then to the roll call.
I'd like him to do it again.
Call his name again.
Dan Hanna,
Dan, are you, hey, Spencer Reynolds here. Are you in a position where you can participate in the meeting? And so we're just gonna, if you could just, if there's verbally, just respond, if you could just get that without, just because we're getting some crossover conversation. And then if there's just, if you have any questions, concerns, comments to make, if you could just step in, just make sure that you're in a position where you can communicate.
Says he just dropped off and needs to link back up.
Okay, and then it looks like you maybe just drop back off. Can you get back on? Okay, thanks, Dan. Appreciate you. Bye.
Just watch and when he gets on, so we know. We need that to have a quorum.
And he stated to me that he's in a position. He's in a position to listen, hear it, and the only thing he says would be if he would have to step out. There's just some background noise to ask questions, and he's indicated he can do that. So I'm comfortable.
He's back on.
Okay.
Can we go ahead?
Can you call it one more time?
Dan Hanna.
Can you is he unmuted, Justin?
Is he unmuted?
I'm on.
Okay, now go ahead and mute him, and then Dan will step out if he has questions, concerned, and he says he'll signal, or he'll be able to signal and then do that, so we don't get crossover. So Justin, go ahead and mute that noise there. Okay, and again, he's given assurances that he can hear the discussion and is able to participate, so no issues moving forward on my end.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we need an approval of the planning and zoning minutes for March 19th, 2026. I think everybody was here that night.
I submit a motion that we approve the minutes from our last meeting on March 19th.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and it's been seconded. Any other discussion or correction to the minutes? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, we have a public hearing tonight, as you're well aware. This is the Diaz, or Steiner property as it's known. And this is a rezone from rural residential 2 to LDR 2 and LDR 3. Property is located at approximately 401 South 12th West. The application is to rezone approximately 15 acres from rural residential 2 to low-density residential 2 and low-density residential 3. Marco Diaz is the presenter. And are we going to hear from Alan first or from the... Okay.
Yeah, just quickly. Just a couple housekeeping. Again, appreciate you folks being out here. I know, again, it's spring break, so I think we have some people out of town. But again, appreciate your time here. Appreciate the developers' time here with starting a few minutes late, and appreciate the commission being here and then having both McKay and Dan available online. Quickly, just some housekeeping. Number one, we're going to limit public comment to 3 minutes, which again is our standard and enforceable through precedent through the Idaho Supreme Court. And so we can limit that comment to 3 minutes, and we don't allow you to defer time to others. So it's 3 minutes per individual. Next, I was made aware that Commissioner Geddes, I was made aware that you had one conversation with an individual from the community. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you a couple clarifying questions for the record. Who did you speak with?
Cherie Barton.
Okay, and when did that conversation take place?
Today.
Okay, and what was the nature of that conversation?
She had questions about the packet, and there was a map at the beginning, and so she was asking why that map was being shown at the beginning.
Okay, was there any substantive conversation about the proposal itself or the specific facts of tonight's proposal?
Only clarification.
Okay, and about how long did this conversation take place?
I don't know, 20 minutes?
Part about the planning and zoning, maybe less, but
Okay, so fair enough to say that it was intermingled between other discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, but more just procedural of when the meeting was taking place and what was being discussed?
Yes.
But not the merits of the actual discussion?
Not merits of it at all.
Okay, is there anything from that conversation that would affect your ability to be impartial in this proceeding?
There's nothing from it that would make that happen.
Okay, and would you say that the substance of that conversation as it pertains to this project has now been fully disclosed on the record?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So Alan, are we gonna hear from you, or do we wanna hear from the applicant?
Developer go first and then I'll follow up.
Okay, thank you. If you state your name and address, please.
Hello. Thank you for coming out. As I mentioned a few months ago when we did this the first time on the my name, Marco Diaz, 10999 South Birch Creek Road in South Jordan, Utah. That's it. Good. So when we did this the first time, we were looking to rezone the Birch property and change the the comprehensive plan to intermediate residential. As you may recall, that was not approved. Well, it was approved through the Planning Commission, but not approved to the City Council. So we moved and kept it all low residential. Low residential. Now we are coming before you. I handed out, and again, I made it clear to Spencer that I understand the commissioners are not voting on a plan or on a project. They're voting on rezoning, specifically just a rezone portion. But the reason why I handed out a little bit of a site plan, a concept plan to many of you, was because I wanted you to know the first meeting, many of you asked me what was the plan with the Steiner property. And now that we're back to the Steiner property, as we've gone through the rezone of the Birch property, I wanted to each of you to know that, again, I'm a townhome developer. I do townhome, twin homes kind of thing, but because I committed that these would be single-family lots, again, that's our goal, that's our intent, and I wanted to close the loop with you. The second piece is that, is there any way of putting the comprehensive plan up here? As I mentioned earlier, our goal when we came before you with the Birch property was to change the comprehensive plan. Now we're not trying to change the comprehensive plan at all. We're just following the comprehensive plan. So if you look at that I don't know, mustard color, if you will, right there, the comprehensive plan already shows intermediate residential. And so we're sticking to what has already been approved by the Planning Commission, what has already been debated. And so we're sticking with leaving that as intermediate residential. And the color and that which is in yellow, we're asking for an LDR2. And again, these are smaller, about 8,000 to 9,000 square foot lots. So a little less than a quarter acre lots is what we're proposing there. But again, those would be single family. And if you haven't gotten one of these, like I say, in the bottom, they're single family lots. And I brought like a dozen copies and I can give those to you. But again, I understand that at this meeting, we're not voting for a project. Like I said, I'm just trying to clarify that we're.
Marco, can I interrupt you for just a second?
Yes, sir.
To make just a quick
You bet,
disclosure on that.
you bet.
And again, and I appreciate him giving me a second to do that. So I'm just going to advise again, members of the Planning Commission, that any specific discussion that he has about the project is not to be analyzed or, frankly, it should be disregarded by you. Again, he has rights to be able to say and to make a presentation. Again, he understands that you cannot base your decision based on those specific plans. At any point, a developer can sell. And again, we are dealing with land use. And so again, as we look at a zone change, legally, you look at accordance with the comprehensive plan, impacts on public services, type and intensity of allowed uses, compatibility with surrounding land uses, long-term use patterns policy, again, public health, safety, and welfare that are impacted through the delivery of systems, and then any spot zoning issues. Again, things that are improper and improper basis for this committee to discuss is, or to base a decision on, is specific site plan details, any promises made by the developer in regards to design, and even statements like, hey, this will be very nice, or you'll like the landscaping, things like that. That is not a matter that this board should take into consideration when making a decision and in any of your analysis or conversations today. The developer understands that, and again, he's been open with me, and we've had dialogue back and forth. He understands that, and he actually knew that I was going to do this as well. So thank you.
And I appreciate it, Spencer. Like he says, he calls balls and strikes, and I appreciate that from him. So, in conclusion, what I'm trying to convey, even though, like I told Spencer earlier today, this concept plan is just so that the neighbors know that I am true to my word. As I said the first time, about two and a half months ago, when we first met in this meeting, that even though I normally do townhomes, we kind of varied from that because of my commitment to the neighbors. However, having said that, we are sticking with the comprehensive plan as been approved, meaning the IR, the mustard color being intermediate residential, and our plan shows that. So we're asking for the minimum of IR, which is an LDR 3, and in the other, which is about a third of the project, and in the other 2/3, it's single family lots that we're requesting smaller single family lots. That's why we're requesting LDR 2. So that's all I have. So I'll answer any questions after the public comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, thank you for your time and your showing up today. We know this was a difficult time with spring break. We appreciate the effort you guys have put forth for this. This was presented to staff in an application and is brought forward to us. The request is stated by the applicant, a little over 5 acres in that east portion of it in the intermediate residential. He's requesting going from the RR2, rural residential 2, to LDR 3. The remaining 10 acres approximately, he's requesting from RR2 to an LDR 2. Staff has reviewed this. We have looked at it as far as ability of the city to service it with sewer, water, and we can do that. There will be requirements for the roads to provide safety and protection for the residents, where they will have to have multiple exits and things like that. Again, we've looked at it and there are options to be able to do that. And staff has signed off on all of this and has recommended it to you to recommend approval to City Council. So if you have any questions. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll open the public hearing at this time. If you would like to speak about the proposal, first of all, we'll have those who are for the proposal come forward, state their name and address. And again, we'll try to stay to the 3 minutes and enforce that. And the other thing.
Try, we're going to.
Oh, we're going to. Will you be my timer tonight, Spencer?
I'll do it.
Okay, all right. And the other thing that we would hope that you would respect is if someone else has talked about a certain thing, not to repeat it, because usually we know that you're here either way for the same thing. So we'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and anyone who would like to speak in favor of the proposal can come now, up to the microphone now. Okay, seeing none. Anyone who would like to speak neutral to the proposal? Okay, anyone who would like to speak against the proposal? Go ahead, come on. Oh. Okay. have that sheet. Can somebody grab it? Right here is good. Okay. Where's the sign up? He can grab it.
I didn't know I was gonna be first. I'm not well prepared or anything, but. So,
Go ahead and state
I'm
your name and address.
Brent Mooring. My address is 1129 Golden Willow Circle, which is in the neighborhood, the Willowbrook neighborhood adjacent to this proposed land change or the zoning change area. So yes, I'm against the change. Seems like we've been here multiple times. I guess a couple of things I would just say. I guess I haven't heard or understand a compelling reason for the change. I understand that I feel like the burden and the onus would be upon somebody proposing the change to make a very strong, compelling reason for a change because of things as they are, people have invested much, obviously money and life and to establish their families in certain locations, given the current how things are. And so I'd like to just put that out there as a question. I haven't heard a compelling reason to make this change. Furthermore, obviously, one of the significant concerns would be increased traffic flow throughout the whole region over there. Excuse me, on 12th West. And in this new proposed neighborhood, as well as our neighborhood, adjacent neighborhood, there would be significant impact, very significant impact to traffic and danger to children and such because of the high increased intensity of traffic. Also, I guess again, I would just propose, it's interesting that the change is so far from an RR2 wanting to go all the way to LDR 2 and 3 seems extreme to me. I mean, if there's any reason for a change in the first place, it seems like it would maybe go potentially one notch higher density and instead of jumping to such extremes. And again, I know our community, appears to be growing significantly, and I think I've heard in the past some discussions of, well, we need more housing options and such, and that's true, but there are lots of different options currently in our community, spread throughout the community, and there needs to be options of all kinds, and the type of neighborhood and the type of zoning that this area has been provides for a certain type of housing options for families at different stages of their growth and economic means. And so I'm afraid we may be going too far the other direction as a community, providing so many high-density housing areas. We need some of that for sure, right, for people at different stages of life. But anyway, those are some of my thoughts on it, and I just wanted to let you know that I am opposed to it. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else who'd like to speak opposed or is opposed?
My name's Heather Tate. I live at 455 Twisted Willow. And I'm against. I grew up in suburbia, California. I came up here for college and I've stayed ever since because I've liked the small town feel and the quiet nature of Rexburg. My husband and I have 5 kids. I homeschool all of them, and we've lived here for about 20 years now. We live in the neighborhood and on the road that would be extended into the new subdivision on Twisted Willow. Though I understand we have needs for expanding housing in the Rexburg area for the college, I do feel concerned about what will happen to our neighborhood with this much expansion and the additional road. Growing up in suburbia, in a neighborhood with high population backyards back to back, there tended to be more traffic and less safety for children, pedestrians, and families. We moved into the community that we did here in Rexburg because we value the safety and freedoms that can be felt from raising children in a less busy, crowded street. If this road opens and the housing for high volumes of people is developed, the street that we live on will go from almost no traffic to high volume. I'm both concerned for safety and infrastructure reasons. I know you want to encourage more growth, but you also want to keep the peaceful families that are already in existence here. I would like to propose that the housing put in place will be at a lower density. I also would like to request the road not be opened on Twisted Willow for our already established community. I know I'm not the only one who appreciates the quiet nature of the street and the opportunities to feel safer in raising kids here, allowing opportunities to play and have freedoms that you don't see in other cities. I would prefer we don't turn Rexburg into suburbia.
Thank you.
David Higginson. I live at 1120 Green Willow Drive, so my property actually backs into this property that they're proposing to develop. Concerns I have are much the same that have been expressed. I'm very much concerned about the traffic that's going to be coming through. If I have that pointer, does anybody have a pointer? No pointer? The road that she was talking about is the road that, that's right, that's where her house is, right there in the corner. Mine's down about where the G is on Green Willow. And I'm very much concerned the traffic. I spoke with you last time we did a review of a development on the next piece over of the additional traffic on 12th West. That somehow somebody needs to grab the bull by the horns and do some additional development on that street. But getting to that street is just as big a problem. And I really like the idea of blocking off Twisted Willow and requiring that all this development property take the exit, be it one or two exits out of the property, not going through the existing subdivision for the reason that have already been indicated. The other concern I have is I'd like a clarification on the LDR2. What, and I'm not familiar enough, probably you gentlemen can tell us, what is the maximum occupancy or the size that those lots can be? I really appreciate Mr. Diaz's design here. Do you know that?
7,260 square feet per lot.
7,000, so 8,000 square feet.
Less than 8, 7,260.
My lot's about 16,000, so it's about half of that. But my concern is that by approving this, we would open it up, even though he's laid out this plat that says he's going to put in some nice quarter-acre lots, that he then changes his mind and says, okay, I know that was a good idea, but now I'm going to put 4 3-story apartments in there, and not something that we want. So that can't happen, you're telling me?
No, we cannot.
Okay. So I am opposed to the development. I really like my view out the back. One of the things that was promised many years ago is that our subdivision would be able to maintain the county environment, the same look that it's had in the past. And I know things change, but like Brent commented on, it would be nice to change those slowly, one click at a time, instead of ramping up 2 or 3 clicks at one time. And so I would vote to oppose this and hope that you would do the same.
Thank you.
My name is Charlene Evans. I live at 2195 West, 440 South. I'd like to bring into light, and I'm opposed against this, some things that I think we haven't taken into consideration is there is nowhere else in our city where one road sustains 3 schools, one of them being the major school of the area, where all children that are in public education attend school there. That road sustains Burton Elementary, the high school, and the soon-to-be charter school. There also is only 2 entrances into any type of commerce at this point, except for Fall River Medical. So that means any medical services or emergency services or grocery services or anything else, there are only 2 entrances for the amount of people that you're proposing would habitate that area. That seems like a lot of people that have two entrances into anything that they need. So I would suggest that you take a look at that and consider that greatly. Thank you for your time.
John Paul Johnson, 2412 West, 880 South. A lot of what I wanted to say has been said. The traffic problems in the neighborhoods, the traffic problems with 12th West, and like Charlene just said, the traffic problems getting to the rest of the city. We're cut off by Highway 20 out there on the west side of the city, and there's no really near-term solution. There's not another way across the highway, and there probably won't be for the next 20 years. With the rezoning that has been approved this year, we're talking about another 500 plus units able to be built on 12th West. Now this one would be another 140 or so. Not that that's what's in the plan that Mr. Diaz shared, but you know, he could sell it and someone else could develop it to 140 units. Yeah, I just think even if you fix the traffic problems on 12th West, you know, locally, I just don't know what you can do. People can't get off of 12th West and into town. There are no jobs on the west side, or hardly any jobs on the west side of Highway 20. And no hospital, no grocery stores, like Charlene was saying. And no sidewalks on 12th West. I know you've heard me say it before, but I ride my bike on 12th West, and it's a scary proposition. There's a shoulder for part of the road, but if you have a lot of young families here that need to walk into the city, then there's no way other than to walk along the shoulder of 12th West. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve Kimple, 2313 West, 440 South. It's the question that I raise, and it's probably a little bit more of a question, but as we increase the population, those are choices that we can make, but I don't know that we have a lot of a choice on when the connection to 7th South would be made. Everybody's alluded to that. I don't know if Rexburg has any control over that. So we have the opportunity to make some decisions about slowing the growth, but I don't know if we have the ability, if that growth continues to go at that rate. It seems to me that's more of a state project.
Thank you.
Brent Harris, 1125 Woodison Lane, Rexburg. I just like to read what intermediate residential is defined as in the comprehensive plan. It says intermediate residential areas will typically develop across the city, especially as a transition, also known as the missing middle, between low and high residential areas and other more intense uses, such as commercial and mixed use. These areas are intended to develop, and this is the critical sentence, as complete neighborhoods with small-scale services and public amenities within walking distance. I don't think that applies. Where are the amenities? Where are they going to walk to? I don't think intermediate residential is applied correctly according to the comprehensive plan in this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Tyler Barton. I live at 1076 Green Willow, so very close to where the proposed changes would be made. I'm concerned about changing the comprehensive plan drastically. It's there for a reason, as others have stated, and I wonder why. I'm wondering why we've skipped over LDR 1, which is 4 acres 4 lots per acre. I mean, that would even be an improvement. Another point I'd like to make is in the Willowbrook subdivision, there are 14 lots that are lying fallow right now. We've been there almost 20 years. We haven't seen a lot of progress, but we've seen some progress at different times. We're going to have the potential for 14 more families with cars and children in that area on Twisted Willow, which is going to dramatically add to the use of that road, in addition to whatever we don't know would be added to that, if this change was made. So my wife and I are in opposition to this. We recognize that progress is going to happen in our fair town. We just are concerned that we're getting the cart before the horse, especially out along this 12th West corridor. I mean, if you've ever been there during, time when the kids are getting to school or leaving school, it's a mess. It's a mess, and there's potential for safety issues. And I don't know that those things in reality would happen, but the potential is there for problems. I just think we need to consider some changes to 12th West, dramatic changes, before we make any of these decisions affecting these pieces of property. And thank you for your time.
Foot's asleep. Jordan Tate, 455 Twisted Willow. I am opposed to this for purely selfish reasons, and I'll admit that. I don't want my road to be extended. I want the traffic to stay quiet where I live. That being said, I believe there's a lot of merit to the argument that there do need to be zones in Rexburg, places in Rexburg that are specifically for family homes. And I understand in Rexburg 77, I think, % of the properties in Rexburg are not occupied by their owners, that the vast majority of homes in Rexburg are rentals. I get that, the vast majority of properties. But there are still a number of us that want to live here, that own homes and want to stay. And there needs to be sections in the city that are specifically designed for homes and homes alone. I don't see any reason to jump all the way up to LDR 2 or 3, where he could put, and not to impugn Mr. Diaz's character at all or anything. I'm sure he's one of the good guys, but I have seen developers that get zoned, push on the city council, get zoning for a higher density than they claim they're going to put. And then once the zoning gets changed, they're able to put more units on and make more money. And let's be clear and honest about that. He's a developer. He's in business to make money, and he will maximize whatever value he can out of the property. So if we're going to zone it to where he can put up to 6 units per acre on, then there's a likelihood, or at least a possibility, that he will do that. That once it's approved, he'll change the plan and come back and say, oh yeah, we're going to put some more units on there than we originally planned. So I'm not against homes being developed in John's land. I get it. He can do whatever he wants with his land. He can sell it to whomever he pleases, and they can do whatever they like with it. But I don't see a reason to jump all the way up to a density of zoning that allows for more units than is claiming on the plan, if that makes sense. If he's claiming that they're going to be quarter-acre lots, then there's no reason for us not to zone it for 4 units per acre. So that's my thought. Thanks.
My name is Cherie Barton. I live at, I can't even figure my address. I'm so nervous. 1076 Green Willow Drive, yeah. I guess I I'm just confused why we keep revisiting this same, I mean, I don't know if it's been about 5 years or more that we've been coming and saying the same thing. If we truly are Rexburg's, America's family community, we get to determine what we are going to allow in our city. And to have a developer that's not even living in our state come in and try to dictate what is going to happen on that land, I understand that if you don't get enough homes on that land, you're not going to be able to make the money that you need to be able to build the roads and the other infrastructure that has to happen. But at the end of the day, I bought my half-acre land, and I'm sure the price on that land paid for all the roads and all the infrastructure that was developed for the land that I bought. And I feel like if we truly are America's family community, we get to decide if we're going to have Rentburg or Rexburg. And right now, it's heavily Rentburg. So I would urge you to help support the motto that our city has, that we can have more family dwellings in our community. Thank you.
One was Southwick, 375 South 12th West. The property that is being considered here is is Rural Residential 2. The property next to it is Rural Residential 1. And I'd feel much more comfortable if this were LDR 1 than LDR 2, because it impacts our property next to it, which is Rural Residential 1. I also have a question about the road. This shows a road going down to 12th West. I understood that roadway was too narrow for a road, and it shows, it looks like there has been a line drawn into Lonnie Gilson's property. Has somebody bought that or obtained a right-of-way for that property? The subdivision would be much more acceptable if it were LDR 1 rather than LDR 2.
He's taller than I am. Leon Parson, 298 South, 12th West. I am opposed to this rezoning. As John Johnson said, 500 homes proposal on just that one little section. When we were working on the two roads, traffic was backed up from the Valleywide to our house. That's a half a mile of backed up cars because of the light. Even if we'd put a 4-lane there or a 3-lane, it will still, with this many people every day, there'll be that many cars. It's a no-brainer. Don't let them build. The thing about this been mentioned is renters. Once a rental home is built, that's who lives in it. If you build a home that can be sold, that's the kind of people that will buy it. There's something to think about. It's a stewardship thing to this community. the responsibility for the well-being of the people that live here now. I think we should build a park on that side of the freeway. Just consider that on your planning and zoning meetings, a city park. That's a third thing. It's a wonderful place. Rexburg is. Gordon B. Hinckley said in 1983 at a regional state conference, he did this in his talk. He stopped. He said, "This area is the most choice place on earth." Apostle of God said that. And then he said, "And you people should not take it for granted." Now, I know the people are going to move here. This new temple is bringing people from all over the world. They'll be good people. Let me say one more thing about Rexburg, especially if anybody's just new to the area. Spring doesn't come until the third week in May. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak against the proposal?
Neil Carter, 441 Twisted Willow. Just also opposed to this. The one thing that hasn't been brought up is that we still have the congestion from the meadows, and that this rezoning would also wind up having that pull into this whole neighborhood as well. So that's another concern. I echo what's been said by the others. I won't repeat it, but echo those sentiments. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay.
I'm Amber Colonies. I live at 544 Golden Willow. And I just want to echo everything that's been said. I won't repeat anything. Just want you to know that I am opposed to this change.
Thank you.
And I'm even shorter. So Kathy Parson at 298 South, 12th West, on 12th. And when it said that this part, the 5 acres that's next to the freeway, he wants to put as LDR 3, because it's already there. The Meadows was a mistake. I don't know if any of you are old enough to have been here when they started it. We've been through it all. It still was a mistake to let that go and have the problem there. So, as has been said, it would just be more of a problem. Thank you. Oh, I'm opposed.
Got that. Okay, I think we got everybody on the list. Is there anyone else who would like to speak opposed?
I don't want to double dip, but I just wanted to ask a clarifying question, if Mr. Diaz wouldn't mind.
You'll get a chance for rebuttal.
I'm just curious if there was anything particular about this particular piece of land that made you guys decide to settle on this for the Utah Development Group, or have you been looking at other pieces in Rexburg, or do you have multiple projects in the works? I'm curious to know about that.
Yeah, let's wait till so, okay, is there anyone online then? No one online who would like to speak? Okay, all right, I guess we got everyone then. Yeah, well, that was a neutral. And then there were Evans. The Evans. We had Charlene and Michael Evans written down. Do you?
Charlene spoke.
Oh, you did speak.
She did.
I didn't get your name
She
marked
spoke for
up.
both of them.
Okay, gee, I really was, I thought I got everyone. Okay, we will go ahead then and close the public input part of our meeting, and we will give the applicant a chance for rebuttal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll answer your question first. So, and first of all, thank you for your feedback. You know, that's part of the process, right? I've been through this many times, and I appreciate, the frankness. And we went through the same process with the Birch property. So I'll start with your question. So initially, we were just looking at buying the Birch property. However, the city requires that we have a secondary entrance. So to answer or to address your wife's question that we wish that could continue just being blocked off, the only way that a property or any, whether it be a single family development or a multifamily development, is allowing that road to go through. So then while we were in the midst of purchasing the Birch property, the Steiner property came available, and someone else could have bought it, and we would have waited till they developed it. But we thought, well, we got to create a secondary entrance or exit, and that's why we ended up buying I have it under contract currently to connect the neighborhood because the city required. Now, if there was another way, which Alan laughs because there is no other way. There was another way to find another exit, and we wouldn't have to purchase that, we would be fine with that. But obviously, the city wants roads to be connected, and that is the way to connect it in any case. So let me address, let me answer the remaining questions. So as it's been mentioned, I also find Rexburg attractive, even though I'm a Utah developer. I'm LDS as well, not that that matters, but you're right, that the growth of a new temple here will bring people from all over, not just because, as you know, the university continues to grow. They're projected to have 32,000. I went to BYU Provo, and BYU Provo has remained the same for the last 30 years. I graduated in 1994, and it was about 30,000, 31,000. It remains about the same. Not so with Rexburg or BYU Idaho now. It started with maybe 5,000, and it continues to grow every year, and it's projected in the next few years to hit 32,000. Right now, this year it hit an all-time high of 25,000. So it will continue to grow significantly over just a few more years because the church is not only investing in the university, but obviously in a new temple. Having said that, what we normally try to do, and again, the reason why this was attractive and the reason we have another project also in the city of Rexburg right next door to the new temple, the Teton River Temple. And again, and so we're moving forward with that. The reason why this piece was attractive, because not just on the metal side, but on the other side, you'll see there along, what is that, Highway 20, I think it is, along Highway 20, on both sides, not just on the west side, there is apartments, there are townhomes, because most of the time, people that have large, nice homes like you do don't want to be right up against the freeway. And so younger people, students, young couples, young professionals, they know they'd rather not be there, but they can't afford anything else. And so that's why they choose, that's why you see in most cities next to the freeway, that's where they put their higher density. So this section here was not something that this was there long before I got involved. The planning commission, maybe before you, these good planning commissioners approved that. I don't know, how long has that been approved, Alan?
It was in the county. It was in the county, so.
Oh, okay, the county.
The comp plan was approved
The comp.
22, 23.
Okay, so about 4 years ago. So, and so when we put this property under contract, it wasn't that we're trying to, someone mentioned about why the big jump. Well, that is under intermediate residential, that is the lowest density. Even though people say, well, why can't you go any less? Because that is the lowest density under intermediate residential. Now, there's MDR1, MDR2, there is higher density than this, and that still falls under intermediate residential. We're not asking for that. We're asking for the lowest density within intermediate residential. Now, on the other 2/3, there we could have a discussion, because you guys could say, well, we do build not only here in Utah, not here only in Utah, and also in Idaho. What we try to do is build affordable housing. And in order to even lots, our lots are between about 8 to 9,000. So they're not they're a little less than quarter acres, but about 8 to 9,000 square feet. The only way you can build a reasonable price home is if the lot is a reasonable priced. And so our lots are smaller, and we make no apologies of that. I'm not here to convince you that we build luxury homes. We don't. We believe there is room for affordable housing. And I know that many of you have been here many years where, half acre lots you're the norm. But now, again, because of the multifamily next to the freeway, we call it a buffer zone to bring it down gradually. And so this is what we believe. Now, obviously, I've heard from all of you, and obviously there's opposition in that. But we're not trying to make Rexburg any less desirable. We're not trying to make it more difficult. Now, I understand that no matter what project there is concern about traffic, right? That will just, even one more home will add to the traffic. 10 more homes will add to the traffic. Someone mentioned 140 units. We cannot get, even if you approve everything, we can't, it'll be slightly over 100 units. Not that that makes a difference, but that's like almost 50% increase of what we're trying to propose in any case. So let me address really quickly. We talked about intermediate residential units, the density. So what we're trying to do again is trying to work the two projects, because we do have the Birch project as well. And if you remember, so we have units on top that we're trying to connect all the way through. And that is why we're coming before you today, because we believed, I don't know, that was a settled issue, that IR was determined before I came. That was determined, and as I mentioned when I first started, we came before you a couple months ago to try to change that for the Birch property. That was denied, so we ended up with LDR2 there. But in conversations with the city, they said, well, that's already been established, that there's LDR3 there, or excuse me, that there's intermediate residential there. So therefore, the least you can go is LDR3. So that's what we anticipated. Now, the other piece, like I mentioned to each of you, we were planning on doing townhomes like we always do. But my commitment, and again, you all are right, that, if I don't finish the project, someone can come in and do something else. That is very true, and I'm not going to deny that. But I hope there is a way that we can, and I don't know, working with staff or something, that we can have a development agreement that states that if we take it over, we can, we're developing what we say we're going to develop, which is a combination of single-family lots with those twin homes on the east side of the property, west side of the freeway. And so I appreciate your feedback. Like I say, I understand that you've been through this many times, and that is very frustrating to continue doing that. I don't know the right answer. I know whether it be me or someone else, it's going to be developed. It may be not this time. I know many times many developers have come before you and they haven't been able to get the numbers to work and simply backed out. But I do want to have a good, amicable relationship with the neighbors. We may not always agree, and that is part of the process. But I want to find a way that we can find the best possible solution to this property as well as the Birch property as well. So thank you for your time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. And thank you all for speaking and taking your time and watching that.
Is there any way to get a clarification? There are several questions that weren't answered, but maybe that's not an expectation.
We need to close. Let's close the public hearing.
I did close the public hearing.
You did?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so can she ask more questions or not?
Can I answer any question?
Marco, if you want.
I just don't think.
We'll defer to the applicant.
I'll say as long as I want. I'll answer any question
I
you
just
have.
don't think you addressed Mr. Southwick's concerns about that road and about his RR1 property is now going to be right next to LDR2. That's a huge impact.
Wide enough to put a road.
Oh, is the right of way? Well, if someone mentioned that, the road cuts into someone else's property, that is called we are required, both sides. A developer is only required to build what's called a half width. We build half of the property, the other home gives right away to us, to a second, or the other half. Technically, even though we call it half width, my responsibility is to probably build out 2/3 of that or more, about 70%. And yes, it is wide enough, so that we've worked with Keith about, Keith Davidson, Keith Davidson, the Public Works Director. So in terms of making it work within the code, we feel comfortable that we can do that and meet all the requirements of the city. We wouldn't be presenting to you if we didn't think that it was a reasonable. Now, going from an RR, almost every property in this side of the town was RR at one time. What's the major property across the way I always refer to? Summerfield. Summerfield was all RR until it wasn't. You guys approved, oh, not you guys, there was an approval of the units down at 700 South and 12th West, excuse me. Again, at one point, it went from RR to LDR2 and LDR3, and then it came before you. So almost all this property has been RR before it wasn't. And so I don't know that, yes, I think every one of those properties, they would have wanted to go, well, let's start with LDR1 and then LDR2 and such. But most of the time, as indicated, the reason why you've had so many developers before you is because they've said, yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't pencil. We're out. And that's why it's kind of gone before. Right.
Question.
Here, hold on. We're not gonna, so we're getting into site specific.
Okay.
This isn't a site specific Q&A. No. So the public portion of the meeting is over. Again, I've been here long enough to know that Mr. Diaz is very amenable to answering questions and having back and forth and having dialogue with individuals. I don't think, again, because their site, we're leaning into site-specific things, I'm going to advise the commission, again, on what they are to consider. And then again, I think the record's been clear as to, again, I think it would be inappropriate to continue a Q&A. There was some leeway as to
Can I say one last thing?
Please.
Regardless of the vote today, if you have some questions afterwards, let's talk. I mean, I'm here to answer any questions. I'm an open book, sometimes too much of an open book, but thank you for your time.
He'll answer any question, but he's not going to answer any question on the record.
Hey, I'm for
I have
it.
a legal question to ask.
Well, the public hearing's closed. You can ask me after the meeting as well.
There's an error in the public notice.
We can talk about that after the meeting as well. Again, before there's deliberation, we'll talk about, again, just a reminder of not to consider site-specific plans and details, and then to only consider those things that we were mentioned again. So again, just harkening back, not going to go through the whole thing, back to the disclaimer that I made previously.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, commissioners, questions, discussion items?
So someone brought up that we're changing the comp plan. As far as I understand, we're not touching that at all. Everything being proposed is within the current comp. And then another one, asking why the changes are happening. The landowner is taking on the financial responsibility to make those changes, and he's proposing them. So as long as the landowner wants to make those changes, and it's within the comprehensive plan, there's not a lot we can do unless they go against that. I don't know, were there any other points that were brought up that would significantly impact our vote?
I agree, I wrote those things down too, and then also to make it clear that none of this is high density.
There's no apartments going in,
no,
it's all low density housing.
Right. So
No one's gonna build a skyscraper, no one's gonna build the
apartment
Sundance
buildings
across
or
your
anything like that, yeah.
road,
Yeah.
which
And
is what happened to me.
I'd just like to
So-
make one comment too in discussion. I know this comes up a lot, but I'm proud that Rexburg's America's family community. But you know, people that live in townhomes and that rent apartments are families. And there's probably not any of us in here that started out in a single family home on a half-acre lot. And so it always kind of makes me feel bad when we don't consider those people as families in our community. they add to our community. They may be transitional, but they do add to our community. So I think we are America's family community, but I think those people are families, and I just kind of always feel that way.
And going off of that, like, so I was a college student, and when I graduated, most of the people who stayed in Rexburg after graduating, I knew a lot of people who lived in that development. That was their first home in Rexburg. And some of them even bought their townhomes. They owned it. They had that ownership of it. And from, I don't know, I don't know exactly what's going to happen to it, and property specific doesn't matter.
Right,
But townhomes can be owned, and the assumption that it's all going to go to rental is something that is not important to the vote, but also people need transitionary housing, and this gives people that opportunity.
And also even, yeah, it really does. I had a question for you, Alan. As 12th West develops, and of course that's the other thing, and somebody did admit that development is what pays for the improvements in the road. And the people who do this are the ones that have to do that. Will sidewalks be required?
Yes. On all lots.
When the school goes in and?
They won't have to connect to, they have to connect to the street, and they have to build out any frontage that they have on that street, but it'll be up to the rest of them whether they build out from that point. They do not have to have sidewalk connectivity to the school or back to the commercial.
But anything in front?
Well, just the short space that they have.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
But
that's
as
it.
that develops, anyone who
As
wants
it develops, the
property-
rest of it. The challenge is you have a bunch of single-family homes that are R1 through there. They do not require sidewalks. And so you're gonna have a gap in there with that, unless at some point the city steps up and goes, we're putting the sidewalks in regardless, because we want that safety of having that. And that's probably what will happen in that section. But that's a conversation down the road.
The one other thing, I guess, while I'm talking, it was mentioned that in Willowbrook, there's still 14 vacant lots. And I think part of that kind of goes back to the way Rexburg's growing. Housing is so expensive. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to buy a big lot and build a big house. And so there's just not a lot of people that are looking for that right now.
Well, and the developers refuse to finish that.
Well, that could be part of it too.
It's a developer issue.
I've been waiting a long time to say this. Tyler, behave.
Well, it's hard to behave when you think something's been misrepresented, right, Spence, with all due respect.
The public meeting is closed.
I still love you, bro.
And I appreciate that. I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
Yeah, that's Kirby Forbush.
Yes, okay, all right.
So
Okay.
FYI for you, Tyler, I was gonna bring that up. That wasn't,
She was going
that's
to
not a
correct me
problem
on
with people not wanting it. It's the problem with the developer wanting not to sell.
No.
And he has said again and again, I'm not ready, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
So that's a him problem, not our, or not that people don't want that.
Okay, good
It's
point.
not a point to say people don't want
It
that.
goes back to not a sidewalk issue, but what? A curb and gutter issue, I think.
Okay.
So.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay, so.
Sally?
Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Tammy, didn't mean to cut you off. It's hard being on virtually, but I thought I'd just say my part real quick. I definitely, over the last few years, haven't made a lot of friends with the 10 people that are convinced that this shouldn't happen in their backyard. So I'm probably not going to make any ground there tonight, but I find it a shame that we're not looking at medium or high density right against Highway 20. If you look at any developing community like ours, they do a step down. I think the Meadows is a perfect product to be against Highway 20. It allows a customer base that may not be in a position to afford a single family home sitting alone on its own lot. I have found it interesting over the last couple of years, the number of people who come out in opposition between Highway 20 and 12th West, but they'll allow hundreds of homes to continue to be developed over in Summerfield and in other places. I find it interesting that some of those who spoke tonight are those in Summerfield. And I feel like not allowing the less desirable property right next to Highway 20 to be developed in this same density. I find that very ironic. I think this is the perfect spot for this type of product, and as I said, I think it should have been presented as higher density. I also, something that I want to discuss with the other council members before, or the other commissioners before we move on to a vote, I would like to hear from others about the conflict of interest issues that may be arising when we pass something and then it's going to city council for a vote. I'd like to hear where we think that city council is finding us in error on this, and whether some of those individuals who have been so vigilant with their opinions have a conflict of interest. Anyway, I'm in favor of this. I think Mr. Diaz has done an outstanding job. He's kept a great attitude through the process, and I can't see a better use of this land. So that's my piece.
Thank you, McKay. Tammy, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so there are several points that were brought up that, and I look at this differently than McKay because of the blockage of Highway 20. I just really don't like that there's not another way for people to go to the east, that they all have to funnel to the west. That's a difficult thing for me when it comes to traffic, is that this many people will have to funnel, so 110 plus what was passed before, which could be, 100 homes or whatever, that's 200, adding in a short distance to funneling toward 12th West. So for me, that's a difficult pill to swallow. And even if they do choose to come down Twisted Willow, they still have to funnel into 12th West. They just don't have another option there. And that's a little bit more difficult for me that way, as far as it being locked by Highway 20. That's a tough thing for me. I love hearing that people want the LDR 1, and the reason I love that is because I think our community needs a variety for a variety of families. I think that there's a great starter, and I think there's a great next step, and I think having a next step, and then once people get to the step where they don't want to go up and down the stairs, they'll go back to that starter again. And I think that that's a valuable thing to have in our community to keep it stable. And so the idea of us having 25% owner occupied in single family homes that are owner occupied versus having 75% that are renting, that is just concerning for me, because I feel like we need to keep a group of stable people who are willing to stay and live. And when you do have that home ownership, you do take a different care of your property because it's your property. And so that's a pride of ownership thing that doesn't come when you rent. And so that is something that is disconcerting for me. Another part is how many will go to the schools. So if we're adding this many homes extra, Burton's already overflowing. And that's difficult because then the busing will have to start busing them to some other school, some other where. I don't know where they'll take them, but that is a point that a commissioner needs to look at, is what happens with the schools. Another thing we're supposed to look at is, do we have amenities? Do we have recreational services or parks? And we don't. On this side of town, we just don't have that. So if we're connecting, and when I happen to be one who was on the comprehensive plan committee, and I spoke again with Logan Simpson, who helped us develop that plan, just to make sure I understood things. And they said the idea is for us to have a community in a community in the community, so that we have places where there are amenities that we can walk to, and that alleviates problem with the roads. We don't have that here. So timing is a thing for me on this. Because we don't have a place for us to walk to these amenities so that we can alleviate congestion on the roads. And so those are things, as a commissioner, I'm supposed to be looking at, is what services we have in this area. I can't remember the classifications again. I remember 12th West, once we add the school, that would change the classification to, help me, Alan, D?
I believe it's a collector. or even a minor arterial.
Okay, so but what's the classification called? Class D? And we're trying to stay with Class B?
No, we're in a Class C right now.
Right now is C, but when we add,
When you put everything in and don't make any changes, it may go to a D or an E.
a D or an E.
Yeah,
And
They haven't classified yet.
but that's a possibility. And so
If they don't make any changes.
if they're, yes. So the possibility of that, it's kind of the cart before the horse again. And I know we're kind of how we do it in our town is a little bit different that way. But that is a concern for me as far as safety for the community here. So hearing what's been said and looking through this and understanding what I understand, those are my concerns with this.
One counterpoint I want to bring up what you just said. You talked about owners versus renters. We don't consider that because we don't know specifically what's going on in the project. Is that correct?
There's a reason I stood up. Correct.
Okay.
So you can look at, again, there's long use land use patterns and general policy. But again, and there was one other statement that made about, because again, I think it was a generalized statement rather than factual of saying that if somebody is renting versus owning, they don't take as good a care as their property. That's not to be considered.
Okay.
Because again, that's a generalization. I own a house, and I'm sure my garage is far messier than those who rent. I could probably guarantee it. So again, that is, so we can get into long-term land use patterns, meaning the units that are that would be permitted within a density, but again, a specific renter versus owner or something that we would imply would be renter versus owner isn't to be considered.
Okay, thanks.
Alan, what's the zoning on Summerfield?
Let me bring it up for you.
You know what? Just
Sure.
McKay asked a question on, and I will go directly from the statute so I don't butcher it. So he asked about conflict of interest. Again, there's a reason that Madam Chair will ask if there's anybody that has a conflict of interest. When we say conflict of interest, again, there's our general everyday use, and then there's it defined by statute and by the Idaho Supreme Court. So a conflict of interest from the Idaho legislature and the Land Use Planning Act exists when the decision maker has a financial interest in the matter being decided. Economic or pecuniary, I'm trying to find the exact, Alan, you pull that up and then just so I can have the site on.
So Spencer, are you looking that up to ask us if any of us have a conflict of interest
No,
for this?
not at all.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
defining it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Idaho Code, 74404, if you're interested into that. So there needs to be a direct financial interest. So we've used an example previously as like if somebody's a realtor or something like that. Even if hypothetically, if somebody was a realtor or they had, and they would say, well, hey, if this passes versus it not passing, it may impact your business. That is not a direct conflict of interest. There is no direct financial benefit to those things. Again, and that's why we have individuals of all sorts who are interested in the community and take an interest in that. So again, and I'm happy to discuss that further with you, McKay, if you have other questions concerning that.
Summerfield is zoned LDR2 and LDR3. You have this one section right here next to the church house, that is LDR3. All of the rest of it, clear up into here, is all LDR2.
But they
Okay.
did develop under a PUD, so there are
It
some
is under a
different-
PUD, which means it's even more dense than an LDR2 and an LDR.
Can I make a comment about that? So in the LDR2 part, those are like an LDR3.
Correct. And that's what
Because
the
they're like a
PUD
tenth of, because of the PUD.
The
And
PUD.
interestingly, those in the LDR3 are like an LDR2.
Correct.
And some even like an LDR1, because you can go less density if you want to. So it's deceiving a little bit when you look at the,
It is, and that's
Yeah.
why you have to remember the fact that in a PUD, you can only do that in your LDRs and your MDRs, but you can come in there and take the total allowed, and if you do specific things, you can increase that density above what the standard is, and then you're able to move that around and say, I can put them on smaller lots because I want to put a great big playground area, and I want to put amenities in here, walking paths, different things. So that's the whole idea. And you can shift things around as long as your overall density doesn't exceed what you were approved for. So that happened there. The thing to look at too is you have an MDR right here when they talk about step down. So you are stepping down. You're stepping down from here. You're stepping down here. You're actually staying, with the LDR2, you're stepping down from this one, which typically that step down goes this direction. And the statement was made on the roads. I know it's a concern. I know citizens are worried about it. All I could tell you is you have engineers that constantly look at every single application, and they take all of that into consideration to make sure they do everything they can to reduce congestion and problems. So this road, yeah, it's gonna make changes, it's gonna do things, but this road is a dream compared to other parts of the city when you look at our transportation plan. We have others that are in that failure stage that we're trying to resolve. This one has ways to resolve it, and they are addressing them.
so I have a question now about your step down. I understood that even the step down was north and south. You're telling me that we're looking at step down from east to west or west to east?
That's typical. That doesn't have to happen that way.
Oh.
But that's typical from your center core of a city. That's usually where your business district, your apartment complexes.
Okay.
And then as you move further out, you go into lower and lower till you get farther out.
Okay, so you're talking center on out is what
Yes,
you're talking.
center, not the road.
Okay,
Okay,
because for this, going to that RR2, adjacent to it would be the LDR3, and that's definitely not a step down. If we go RR2, right around the corner is LDR3
Well,
or
the step down is
LDR2.
from the freeway. So coming from the center, you're going from MDR down to LDR3, so that's a step down.
So you're considering that the MDR3 is our center? The
No,
center
your
of our,
center is Main Street and Center Street. So when you look at the overall picture of Rexburg, your core, you find that core right in here. This should be your most dense, highest use structure in your whole city. Doesn't have to be, but that's usually the way you focus. As you get further away, that's when you start doing those step downs. Now, you run into challenges as city grows, and that's what we're facing right now. All of a sudden, you talked about coming out and have community centers where you're gonna have community amenities, stores and everything else for people.
Yeah.
We're starting to get to that phase where now you're gonna start seeing higher densities show up on the west side, and you're gonna see commercials showing up. You see that up here along 33 on the west side. You're getting amenities here. We have amenities that are coming down on this side. And you've got amenities coming in here. This has just got zoned to commercial. You have a bunch of commercial. That puts you within walking distance of these. So that's the type of stuff that's happening. So you need to look at this as an overall for the city. Is this detrimental to what's happening to the community? And does it fit with what's going on? And you have to rely some of this upon the expertise of your staff. Mainly, I'm talking about the engineer. He's the one who will tell you, can I get them enough sewer? Can I get them enough water? Can I make sure that the roads function? They don't always function the way we want them, but they have to function to a certain level that he will maintain.
thanks.
Did you have anything else, Vern? No. Dan, did you have anything you'd like to say? Oh, Dan.
required to make that comment. He's probably muted.
I just,
so we're fine.
Justin's
I wondered if he was still muted and trying to talk. Was the only thing.
He had indicated if he had something.
Okay, all right. Okay, any further discussion?
He's got himself muted.
He's muted,
Okay.
I think, so apparently he doesn't want to talk. Okay.
He's asking him.
Okay. Okay, anything else from anyone on the commission?
I think we're ready for proposal.
Okay, well, I think that we're looking at some kind of a motion at this point, if someone would like to do that.
I'll make a motion, forgive me if I fumble through this, that we propose to city council, or recommend to city council, the rezoning of RR2 to LDR2 and LDR3 on the property on 12th West, as the applicant has asked and has been recommended to us by city of council, or what's the word?
Staff.
City staff, that's the word I was looking for.
You might add to it that it be the reasons.
Oh, because it is in alignment with city planning, Rexburg City, or the comprehensive plan.
There you go. In accordance is the language.
What did I say?
In compliance, we always
In
say compliance.
accordance.
The statute says in accordance, same thing. But
Okay,
In accordance, okay.
in accordance with the comprehensive plan.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have the motion and the second. Is there any further discussion on the motion?
Okay, can we restate what the
Oh,
motion
you can
is?
read it too, yeah, okay.
Okay, so how I have this is the motion is to recommend that city council approve the rezone for the property on 12th West, and we'll add in the approximate 401 South 12th West, to LDR2 and LDR3 as it meets staff requirements and is in accordance with the comprehensive plan.
is there anything that anybody wants to supplement?
What?
Any supplementation that you think is required? Maybe flush it out a little bit more, Sally.
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, we will go ahead and take the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 So do we get both of them?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, it will be recommended to the city council to take a look at. Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for your comments and your composure.
Folks, thank you for, again, this group is always very gracious with staying within the time restraints and staying respectful, and I very much appreciate it. Makes my job easier.
Okay, it looks like we don't have anything at this point for May 17th.
Yeah, so that was.
We need to adjourn the meeting.
Based on that mistake, it didn't.
Yeah, that's why we had to. Just call. So my commitment.
Recording stopped.
May 6th is the city council meeting when they're gonna take this out. May 6th.
Well, and with this,
But I always have a track record.
We want to come
I know.
Like some sort of media. The day after, I say, well, I want that to happen.
Yeah.